Dear students, welcome to the course of Entrepreneurial Finance. I'm your course instructor, Shehzad Khan Durrani, lecturer at the Institute of Business Studies, Kast Hangu campus. Today, we will talk about startups, the sources of funding or financing required for the new ventures. Our outline, it includes why business needs finance. Then we will talk about the basic concept of the entrepreneurial finance. Then we will talk about the types of financing associated with each of the stages of the new venture development, and these stages and the financing required for them are: the first stage, research and development. The finance required for that is the seed financing. The second stage is called the startup stage, and the financing required is called the startup financing. Then we have the early growth stage, and the financing required for that is the first stage financing. Then we have the rapid growth stage, and the financing required for that is the mezzanine financing. And at the end, we have the exit stage, and the financing required for that is called the maturity or the exit financing. So let's start. Why business needs finance? Why business needs finance? So finance refers to the sources of money for a business. All kinds of businesses, they required some sources, like human capital is a source. So finance is also a source of as one of the assets, one of the source that is required for a business. Finance is the lifeblood of a business, right? It is a prerequisite to mobilize resources for organizing industrial production, right? Then firms need finance to, number one, start up a business, right? To start up a business, they need finance. For example, pay for premises, for the buildings, for the new equipment and advertising, etc. Then run the business. Then after the start, the organization, the business, they have to run their businesses, right? So having enough cash to pay staff wages and suppliers on time, right? So that's for this, all the businesses require finance. Then we have the next stage, that is called, they have to expand the business, right? Like opening new branches, new franchises, etc. So having funds to pay for new branch in a different city or a country, right? So in order to expand the business, we need finance. Then the next topic is entrepreneurial finance concept. So let's talk about it. Entrepreneurial finance is the process of making financial decision for new ventures, right? So how you are making this decision, right? First, we need to have an idea, right? For any business, we need an idea, right? Then we need to have the realization of that idea. For example, we have an idea to open a business of any product. Then we need to realize, is it possible, is it practically possible to start that business? We need to realize that. So once you realize that yes, this idea is practically possible, right, and I can implement that, then I need what? I need capital for that business, right? So, entrepreneurial finance is the process of making financial decision for new ventures, right? Once you have an idea, once there is a realization of idea, then you need capital, and that's actually called entrepreneurial finance for the new ventures. So sources of funds is also required, and there are different sources of funds for the entrepreneurial finance. The one source that's called the angel investors. They are the individuals, often successful business people, who are investing their own personal funds into a potentially rewarding business opportunity. They are looking for an opportunity, they have the money, they want to invest their own money, right? So you need to consult with them as well in order to start your business. Or the next source is the venture capital. Venture capital is invested by firm or company that use other people's money, right? So they are using other people's money, right? So they are acting as an agents as well. So you can consult them as well, the venture capital. Then the next topic is the types of financing associated with each of the stages of the new venture development, right? So we will talk about it. So types of financing associated with the stages of the new venture development: research and development, the seed financing; startup financing; early growth stage, finance required is the first stage financing; and the rapid growth, the finance required is the mezzanine financing; and at the end, the exit or stage, the finance required is the maturity or the exit financing. So let's start from the first stage, research and development, the seed financing. The seed phase, also known as the pre-commercialization stage, right? So you are doing some research about your idea that you have, or about the business that you want to start, is the proof of concept stage, right? In which a business idea is tested for its validity. You are going to test your idea for its validity. Is it possible? Is it practically possible? So you need financing for that stage as well, and it's one of the risky stage of finance, because if your idea is not practically possible, then you can lose all your money. Generally, a formal business entity has not been formed because the business decision of whether to move forward with creating a business has not been decided, right? So here, like, it's you are just it's an idea, right? There is no decision taken yet. The next source, financing. The stage is startup finance, and the source of funding or financing required is the startup financing. So during the startup phase, also known as the launch phase, production is initiated and sales occur, right? So you are going to start your business. It means that your idea is practically working and now you can start your business. So you need to produce something, you need to sell something, you need to deliver your products to the customers. So you need financing for that as well. It is characterized by hiring employees, so you need employees in your organization, and establishing the products in the marketplace, and then you can establish the product in the marketplace as well. Financing actually for the startup phase involves bridge financing, right? From the time the pre-launch phase is funded until operations commence, right? Sufficient working capital for the smooth operation of the business, right? You need what? You need sufficient working capital in order to operate your business, right? Funding of any losses at this stage, at the startup phase, and the contingency funds in case of any unexpected interruption in the startup process, right? So for example, at the startup process, if there is any loss, right, or so your money is all gone, right? So it's also one of the risky stage that you can say as well. Funding for the pre-launch stage and the startup phase may occur at the same time, right? The pre-launch stage, for example, before launching the product and then practically starting the product, right? Both payment or both funds can be required at the same time. The next stage that we have is the early growth, the first stage financing. Here, like your business is expanding, right? First stage financing, also the ramp up phase, right, is the final phase in the early stage financing. Any kind of product, as we know, it's passing from four stages. First is actually the introduction stage of that product, then it's growing, the growth stage, and then there is a maturity of that product, and after that there is another stage that's called the decline stage. It is characterized by ramping up production and sales, right? Your production and sales are increasing here at the early growth, and so it's not that much risky as compared to the second and the first stage. Ramping up the business by increasing sales in an indication of success, right? Because the company business model is being validated here. Like, yes, now people can provide you loans, people can trust you. So this is the stage that you can make sure that the company business model is being validated, or business volume may be approaching break even and profitability is within sight. Venture capitalists may be interested in financing at this stage, right? Then we have the next stage that's called the rapid growth or mezzanine financing. The finance required at this stage is, this is provided for major expansion of a company that has an increasing sales volume and is profitable, right? So here, like at this stage, your business is expanding, right? So your sales are increasing, the volume of your sales is increasing, and your company is profitable. These funds are used for further plant expansion. So here you are expanding your business, marketing activities, right, are increasing, working capital, or developing an improved product, right? So you are working on the design and the shape of your product, on the quality of your product, right? The next stage that we have is the exit, or the exit stage. The financing required is the maturity or exit financing. So once the business has matured, right, additional financing options, so you have like to invest somewhere else, right, will become available for growth and expansion opportunities. For example, the companies might decide to undertake an initial public offering, right? So you can offer your shares to the common public to buy, to raise capital through this way in the public market, or you can obtain bank debt financing that isn't accessible to earlier stage companies. At this stage, the company might also move forward with an exit transaction through an acquisition buy, right? So you can go for an acquisition, or you can go for a merger with another company. At this stage, the decision is yours. These are the references that I used while making my slides. Thank you.